In terms of context, there are certain factors that contribute to the vulnerability of Haiti, including the geography. Haiti is located in a region that is particularly at risk of natural disasters due to its numerous fault lines. In addition, Haiti's colonial history presents particular challenges for the region. When Haiti was first colonized by the French, deforestation became a main issue as the land was cultivated for coffee use, resulting in massive deforestation and political instability that still exists today. In terms of causes of disaster, climate change has had a significant impact on Haiti. Global shifts in atmospheric conditions and changes in temperature and weather patterns contribute to the frequency and intensity of weather events such as rainfall, flooding, and hurricanes. In particular, the El Nino phenomenon has exposed the country to greater risk of droughts, hurricanes, and flooding. El Nino is a complex weather pattern where more heat is discharged to the atmosphere by the tropical Pacific Ocean near the equator, and this is a large factor. As we mentioned earlier, deforestation presents a large obstacle for Haiti in terms of drastic weather events. Haiti produces 60% of their domestic energy by burning wood charcoal, which is gathered from their own forests. About 98% of Haiti is now deforested, which presents problems in terms of soil erosion, which makes flooding a lot more intense. Understanding all these contextual factors is important in looking at the Haiti drought and Hurricane Matthew moving forward.
Prior to Hurricane Matthew, Haiti was still recovering from the 2010 earthquake as well as dealing with an ongoing cholera outbreak and severe drought. On October 1st, Hurricane Matthew was reported as a Category 5 hurricane with 160-mile-per-hour winds, intensifying from a tropical storm to a Category 5 in record time. By October 4th, Hurricane Matthew had weakened to a Category 4, making landfall in Haiti, leaving, and I quote, a broad tableau of devastation, houses pummeled into timber, crops destroyed, and stretches of towns and villages under several feet of water. In the southern city of Jérémie, 80% of the buildings had been destroyed. Matthew's strong winds knocked down power lines and cell towers, limiting communications in the days following the storm. Damaged infrastructure, blocked roads, and washed-out bridges prevented more expedient distribution of relief supplies, leaving storm victims without food or assistance for up to 2 weeks in isolated areas. By October 6th and 7th, temporary bridges were constructed in order to transport humanitarian relief. The UN Central Emergency Response Fund provided a grant of $5 million toward rebuilding efforts, and the World Food Program began sending out 551 tons of food. By October 20th, there was some progress amidst the devastation. About 98% of the cell network had been restored, the travel ban by water was lifted, schools began to reopen, and roads were gradually restored, allowing for easier travel for humanitarian groups. 80% of affected communities had road access restored. However, nearly 806,000 people were facing critical food shortages. The World Food Program, UN, MSF, and USAID were on the scene helping with food, health, and cholera cases. By 3 months later, short-term jobs were created to provide people with a source of income and dignity, to stimulate the economy and revitalize livelihoods of affected communities, selecting the most vulnerable households and in particular giving the opportunity for women to participate in the reconstruction of their community. Some jobs included rehabilitating community infrastructure, which was critical to resume a normal life and ensure food security. The 3-year post-Matthew recovery plan was also put into action. But as you can see, by September 2017, we had Hurricane Irma hit Haiti, and we saw a relapse in the recovery effort.
Before the hurricane struck in October of 2016, Haiti was experiencing a drought that worsened in 2015 due to the severity of El Nino. The drought created severe food shortages and inflation of the price of food. The drought left nearly 3.6 million Haitians food insecure, which is about 34% of the population. The drought severely impacted the northwest, northern Artibonite, southeast, and southern regions the most. In 2015, a 50% drop in agricultural production was reported between July and December. Hurricane Matthew was a Category 4 storm in the Caribbean that struck Haiti with the southwestern region of the country the hardest hit. Many nations and other islands were affected by the storm, but Haiti was the hardest hit. The hurricane was slow-moving due to the superheated waters in the ocean, and it brought forth winds as high as 150 miles per hour and heavy rainfall that caused numerous flash floods and mudslides. During Hurricane Matthew, 546 people were killed, 175,500 people lost their homes, and 141,000 people were internally displaced by the storm. Over 2 million people in Haiti were affected, which is about 20% of the population and primarily the poorest part of the population. and 1.4 million people required humanitarian assistance. 80% of the infrastructure, such as road, bridges, and structures like schools, were severely impacted. 800,000 individuals were left without food, and 280,000 people were severely food insecure, particularly in the Grand Anse and Sud regions. There was also an increase in psychological trauma and storm-related PTSD. There was a sharp increase in the number of cholera cases in the 4 weeks following the hurricane, and the vaccines in Haiti were rendered ineffective due to the cold chain that was required for vaccines being cut. The disaster inflicted losses equivalent to 22% of Haiti's GDP, and estimates of the damage are said to be around $573.5 million. The agriculture sector was the most impacted, with loss of crops and livestock near 90% in some areas.
Before Hurricane Matthew hit, Haiti itself was not in a very resilient state. This is due to the fact that Haiti was still recovering from the 2010 earthquake and the drought that followed. Also, during the 3 years before the hurricane, Haiti had been hit by severe climatic disturbances characterized by repeated episodes of drought followed by erratic rainfall. All of these factors made pre-hurricane resilience difficult since they were still overcoming previous disasters. Generally speaking, resilient livelihoods are better able to prevent and reduce the impact of a disaster. In order to increase resilience in areas, it is crucial to improve access to basic agricultural inputs, safeguard animal production, and support the recovery of degraded areas, increase access to specific social programs such as school feeding programs in this case, boost access to clean water, improved hygiene and feeding practices, increase access to preventative nutrition services, and address micronutrient deficiencies. Before Hurricane Matthew, the Food and Agricultural Association of the United Nations developed an El Niño response plan. This was made to reduce the frequency and severity of food insecurity and nutrition crises in Haiti. The FAO's overall goal was to contribute to the improvement of food security and the nutrition of vulnerable populations most affected by droughts, strengthen Haiti's resilience, and improve livelihoods. It was later shown that the FAO did strengthen the resilience of farming families through identification and manipulation of crop varieties that are most resistant to irregular rain. In addition to the FAO, the United Nations Development Program helped the Haitian people to return to sustainable development and to build resilience to future shocks. While focusing on disaster risk reduction efforts, the UNDP prioritized conditions that make poor people vulnerable to climate and disaster risks. It is currently believed that these efforts saved many lives during and after Hurricane Matthew. Specifically, the UNDP coordinated immediate response with local and national authorities, created workdays in order to revitalize livelihoods and give people incomes, and ensured that the humanitarian response focused not only on life-saving needs, but also on long-term objectives that would create more resilient communities. Finally, the UNDP also developed a 3-year post-Matthew recovery program made to assist in long-term recovery, resilience, and sustainable development. Overall, Haiti was not overly resilient on its own pre-hurricane, but humanitarian efforts and responses assisted in making Haiti